Exams are over and a new track and car combination have arrived on rFactor 2. More specifically, Monza has become the latest Laser-Scanned track to be released as a DLC, and the latest free car released by Studio 397 is a BMW M4 Class 1, which supposedly is a DTM car, but based on the latest regulation changes, unfortunately, these beasts will not burn their rubber on the track, and instead GT3 cars will participate in the DTM category. Despite that, we're here to try out this incredible car around the Temple of Speed and get our first impressions on the new rFactor 2 content. So let's jump into the BMW for a 10-minute race around Monza. Let's do this! So here we are on the grid, obviously a rolling start, kicking off our race here with the BMW M4 1. And I for once say the engine sound is quite great, I have to admit that. Which is not common for rFactor 2. Obviously somebody could make probably this sound even better, but I really like this sound. It actually sounds quite well for my ears. Probably it's not realistic or it's not the best, but it sounds good to me in comparison to the GT3 and the GTE cars. As you can see, starting off this race, we started from last position. I think it's a 20 car grid, and we're in Monza. Obviously you can see already it feels like a Laser-Scanned track. It feels very... oh, her car at the back there has completely messed it up there on the chicane and makes a very dangerous re-entry into the circuit. But either way, this car genuinely looks good. I've seen this car in real life and I honestly hate the front end of this car. Oh, the car ahead of me there has completely lost it there in the second last corner, and we gain another position. But honestly, I don't really like the front end of this car. It feels like very weird with this kind of new direction BMW has taken. We're making the two things at the front, which I don't really know how to describe them, but they're making them bigger and bigger and bigger, which in my opinion is not amazing. It's not very aesthetic. But honestly, this GT version of this car feels great, and I have to admit straight away my impressions of the car. As far as I'm driving it right now, it feels like a phenomenal car, very nice, very fast. Feels like an LMP car, but with like a GT3 sort of chassis, let's just say. Very nice downforce the car has, very good acceleration, very early to get up to speed there, and obviously that results into us losing the back end quite often into first gear. Second gear is much better though, I have to admit, but as you can see right there, a slight wiggle in the back of the car as you enter the first gear, and for a free content this feels absolutely great. The false feedback feels a bit stiff, but I'm gonna keep on commenting, as I'm driving this car. For the time being it feels very well, and the model absolutely perfection yet again from Studio 397. I feel like in terms of designing the models, they're absolutely amazing. They're up to par with ACC and iRacing, in my opinion much better than iRacing in terms of the model designing and all that. And as you can see right there, the indication rear flap system is now enabled. You can see the yellow indication of DRS is going to start flushing up a little bit. As you can see, the car in front of me has opened the DRS, the rear wing just slightly moves up. As you can see now it's blue, the indication, which means I've turned on the DRS. Now back to yellow, which means I've turned it off, which obviously it turns off automatically as you brake for the corner. And as you can see right there, I couldn't make that move stick, running a little bit wider after the Ascari corner. And now we're very close into the car in front, the red BMW M4. And yeah, it feels very good, this car. Feels great to be back on rFactor 2. Obviously the track is absolutely great. Feels like a Laser-Scanned track as it should be. I wasn't expecting anything worse from Studio 397 after the kind of content they've been putting out. We've had Spa, Nordschleife, Sebring. We've had so many great Laser-Scanned tracks. Obviously the Formula E tracks, which I haven't really showcased in the video, which is a bit of a shame. I need to make a video on electrical racing at some point, electric racing I should say. And yeah, I'm planning to make a video obviously on electric racing, 2 videos to be honest with you. And yeah, everything is just gonna come around now. My exams are over, so a lot of content is gonna come up, including obviously the F1 2021 game. But pretty much expect variety. I really want to be back into sim racing with rFactor 2, RBR Pro, BMG, so I'm gonna do a little bit of everything here on the channel. Obviously all this before WC10 comes out eventually. But so far a very good race, no mistakes. This car is very smooth, as I've already told you, if you learn how to drive it. And obviously this is a default setup, so default setup is working absolutely fine. Obviously you can be much faster. I'm setting around 143s. I bet you can do like 138s, 139s, something like that, with the setup and a much better like driving, instead of just fighting the whole time. Up the inside there into a Scari, and we're actually gonna get outbraken again by the AI, this blue BMW. I'm obviously on the original colors, the blue, the white and the red of the BMW manufacturer. Missing obviously from F1 this decade has been a big miss for me. I feel like we need more manufacturers back to Formula 1 and back to rallying in general. BMW has been racing in the rally categories in the WC back in the day, obviously. But I'm gonna let you listen a little bit to the engine sound, and so that you can get a bit of an impression, and discuss this also in the comments down below. Pretty much the engine sound. In my opinion, it still sounds very good. It's not very disappointed. Whereas if you remember my latest rFactor 2 video that I made back in Christmas on the Corvette, the engine had a lot of issues, especially on downshifting. Like, you couldn't understand when you need to upshift. Like the rev limiter was not really well indicated into the engine sounds as we go for a move there up the inside. And something else I've also noticed, not about the car. Let's just talk a little bit more about the car. Actually, I want to say that, taking into consideration this is a free car, the quality is like a DLC car. Like, I would pay for that. If really that was the case, I would really pay for that, because it's well made. The interior of the car looks nice. The steering wheel looks great. Obviously, the indications on the sort of like boss thing there on the HUD, I would love them to be more detailed. I would love to switch from the indications just like on ACC, but they're just not doing that yet. I have no idea why. Hopefully they can do that in the future, but it's just the detail that just doesn't even matter, if I'm being honest. But sound is fine, model design great, handling of the car a little bit weird, because I've never driven a DTM car, but it feels very good with the downforce, very good on the throttle. You obviously lose the back end a little bit, but it still feels like a very well put content out there. But one thing I've mentioned about the track as well is that the curbs are massively different from any other track. I remember when I first tried out Spa in the video, the curbs didn't feel very strong. They felt a little bit kind of very smooth. Just like in general on rFactor 2, the curbs feel very smooth. You can ride them, you can do whatever you want with them. But here this time around Monza, they feel very rough, and it really brings up the question of when you're driving as we go around the outside. Hopefully the AI is not gonna just ignore me and just put me out of the circuit, but it really gives you the question of, can I push a lot? Can I like touch the curbs and all that as we go around the outside? Still, that's actually a very good run. We're probably going to be completely moving. Oh god, I've been taken out there. I was expecting that. This is 100 AI difficulty and 40% aggression, so you're still getting put out of the track and just completely getting ignored on that kind of difficulties, just to let you know, boys. But either way, we're going to be overtaking that guy. Whatever happens, I'm just going to put him off the track probably next time I get the opportunity to do that. So but what I was saying is that, as there's only 1 minute remaining in the race, what I was saying is that I really like the fact that they put rougher curbs. It really brings out a kind of different like challenge, and all of the curbs are actually rough, and they are rough around Monza. It's not that they just did it just because. You know, probably the Laser-Scanned technology has improved and they've changed the cabs, especially to that chicane there. It's completely different as we get a very, very good exit there, and we're probably going to go up the inside there. I don't even care about this car. He's been very annoying after what he did into Parabolica, and now through the second Lesbo I'm going to be trying to get another good exit to probably get into the slipstream of that guy and overtake him, or actually try to overtake him into the Parabolica. Probably this is the final lap of the race. There's no more chances. DRS works fine as well. Everything is literally very enjoyable. A very, very enjoyable overall experience yet again from rFactor 2. And we're trying to get a good exit there. 0 minutes remaining, as you can see. That was the final lap. And now into the slipstreaming. We're not really in the draft, and we can't go for a dive into Parabolica. That is going to be very crazy if we do so. But we could get a better exit, you know. You never know. Into third gear. Up into 4, there's some slight contact there, side by side as you can see, but we're going to be completing the move right into the final lap, and I think that's going to be P3 or P4, something like that. I'm not really sure, but it doesn't even matter, because at the end of the day, loads of fun yet again on rFactor 2, and I think that was probably the best thing I could have done after finishing my exams. I was literally like waiting for the new content on rFactor 2. I was like, can I please play rFactor 2 again? And especially seeing, you know, the new content, Monza Laser-Scan, the brand new car, especially in that kind of category. I wasn't expecting that whatsoever. But overall experience from the car, it is a very special car. I've never driven a DTM car before. Looks like a GT3 car, feels like an LMP car. I feel like it's not a very easy car to get used to, but you can really get used to if you're a little bit careful with the throttle. The downforce is great on this car, and I highly suggest that if you want a car of like this kind of looking, a good looking car, GT3 looking car, with a lot of downforce, we've got to try out the DTM category. Obviously, these cars are not going to be driven in real life eventually, I think, but it's still a beast to enjoy in a sim like rFactor 2. The track, absolutely perfect yet again. Laser-Scan technology working wonders for the Studio 397. I've no words for them. Like, they need to fix so many things into the game, but they give so much great content at the same time that I can't really say anything bad about them. They're a good company, but they need to focus on making the game more accessible for other people. This UI that we currently have is horrendous. It's literally even worse than the previous one. It's more good looking, but that's just all about it. In terms of accessibility, easy like to, you know, just set up a race just like I did here. That literally took me about a lot of time, let's just say, to set up this race. It took me a while, and especially for someone that hasn't played rFactor 2 ever in his entire life, it's going to be even harder. Loading times, accessibility, you know, everything needs to be fixed. But other than that, this game has got the potential to be, despite that, it is for me the best ever sim racing game. But if it fixes those like sort of details and huge things that need to happen into the game, then they're gonna be looking very, very good in terms of comparison to iRacing and ACC, and also MS2, which is still getting there sort of. But either way, that was it for today, guys. If you enjoyed, smash the like button, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, make sure you follow me on Twitter, jump on Discord server to stay tuned with the news of the channel, and until next video, guys, which is most likely going to be F1 2020, WC9, BIM&G, RBR Pro, The Rally 2.0, I have no idea. There's a lot of candidates for the next video. I'm gonna catch you later. Goodbye.